Chelsea did well in the end, but what does this mean? We're going to move on to Arsenal a little bit later in the title race, but what does this mean ahead of the big final on Sunday? Because Chelsea get that good result.
It's a massive boost, Terry.
Bro, Liverpool have got injuries stacking up. I've heard rumors that Mo Salah could be out for this final. How are you feeling about it, Roms? Because you are the favourites on paper, but with these injuries, goalkeeper, etc., like, how are you feeling?
Do you know what? I speak to Don often, and Don will tell you from last week to now, I was over the moon. I was confident. I thought we'd beat them. But as we're getting injury by injury, my confidence is dwindling because, look, the win on Saturday, in the context of things, we hadn't won there since they've been promoted. It was great, but it was bittersweet. Because for me, Curtis Jones has been our best midfielder this season, and Jota bar Salah has been our best attacker. So if there's two players that did not want getting injuries, it was them two. Now, Jota, I knew straight away, this is going to be long-term. They're saying 2 months, so he'll probably only be back for the penultimate game and the last game of the Premier League and any cup finals that we get to. Jones, it was kind of hot and cold. It was hit and miss whether he would make the final. Now it's been confirmed that he will miss the final. And now Salah is apparently 50-50. And even Nunes, I don't know if you've heard that. Apparently it was precaution, but he may miss the final as well. I thought
Salah was only Luton. Isn't that the final now as well?
No, apparently it could be the final. It's not set in stone, but it could be the final as well. So that win was bittersweet. But to answer your question, Tel, it is now worrying because if Chelsea put on a similar display as they did with City, Liverpool and City don't play the exact same way, but I would say we will both dominate the game. Chelsea will probably have to be a bit pragmatic, but I'm now a bit more worried. To say who would I think will win it, I will need to see what players are definitely available for that game. But as it stands now, the confidence is definitely dwindled. Definitely.
Well, first of all, I need us to turn up because I managed to get some tickets today, so I'm going to be at the game. But honestly, Terry, like, listen, the blueprint is right there in terms of how you need to control Liverpool, man. Look what Arteta did against them. You know, playing a double pivot of Jorginho and Rice, and then Odegaard right in front of them. That's what you've got to do, man. Make sure Enzo and Caicedo are next to each other. Don't leave Caicedo by himself on that transition against these guys. And we've got every chance of playing how we did like when we played them the first game of the season. Because that game, we were the better team and we should have beaten them. But again, our finishing let us down. So it's going to be interesting, isn't it? I know they've got a lot of injuries right now. We've had injuries pretty much all season. You know, I'm numb to them when I see them, new injuries every single week. But yeah, this is a massive opportunity to beat Liverpool, man, and get some get back. Because obviously they beat us in the last 2 finals that we played them there under Tuchel. So I really want to beat these guys, man.
There's one positive from a Liverpool standpoint. Szoboszlai could be back. Now, I know he wouldn't start, but last 20 minutes, depending on what the score is, his industry will help us because this season, I'd say he's been more useful to us from a defensive standpoint than an offensive standpoint, but he could be back. And I think he started training this week, so he'll be a big plus for us. But yeah,
I can't lie, Rose. With you, man, even with your fully fit midfield, it's not your midfield I'm worried about, it's your attack. I think right now, even though Endo has improved, I still think your midfield it's not a midfield that I'll look at and think, I'm stressed about that midfield. But now you're even weakened even more. Do you know what I mean? We won't get a better chance to beat you guys. Honestly, we will not get a better chance to beat you guys. We have to beat Liverpool, man. We have to.
I think you guys have got a massive boost going into this, bro. I'll be so real with you guys. I think Chelsea have a massive boost going into this. And listen, as much as it pains me to say, I think Chelsea are going to win that game and win the trophy. If I'm being realistic and honest, when you played them at Anfield, it's Anfield. We all know what Anfield is. The noise, the fans. For players, especially your players who are young and have shown their immaturity at times, it can kill them.
Sorry, it's not even that. We just weren't set up correctly, bro. We weren't set up correctly that game, bro.
The only rebuttal to this, right? The only reason why I've still got some hopes are is because Poch I know they say that things have to come to an end, but Poch's record in finals isn't the greatest. Normally, when Klopp and Poch play each other, Klopp normally gets the better of him. And I just think that know-how in finals, because a lot of our players have been there and done it, I still think that's where we have the edge. And the reason why I have confidence as well is, as good as Chelsea played there, because they say you're only as good as your last game, and you put up a good display against City, I still don't trust your attackers to be clinical enough, because you could get abundance of chances and not put them away. And let's say we have a Nunes or Salah, because I think them two will be fit. It's very 50-50, but Salah's got the type of mentality where he'll probably play on one leg and still try and get a goal if he has to. I think if we just have one of them two or both of them, I still think we should have enough. But Jota's the main one for me. But
as much as we're not clinical in front of goal, yeah, we still score goals somehow. We still manage to score goals. Like, one thing that's scaring me about this game is Sterling doesn't like playing against Liverpool, man, over the years. Every time he plays against you guys,
for City and Chelsea.
Yeah, for City and for Chelsea, he doesn't like it, man. And listen, he's found his way back into the 11, because before the weekend that just went, I said, bro, he can't start, because when we played you lot at Anfield, the way Bradley had all that space against Ben Chilwell was mad, and that was Sterling not tracking back. You know, so every single person again needs to be switched on, because even though you lot have got injuries, I'm not going to just look at it and say, yeah, we're definitely going to win now. We've got a job to do. You know, the mentality can't be, we're going to beat Liverpool because they've got all these guys injured. You're still going to have a decent enough squad. It's just your bench is going to be quite weak as well. That's another thing. You know,
yeah,
what I mean? Your bench is going to be weak.
I think with but I think the injuries play a massive. The injuries play a massive part. The injuries play a massive part, especially if Salah is not available. If Salah's not available for that game, that plays a massive part to it as well, because Salah is like a very big game player. Do you know what I mean? So he's the difference maker in that team.
Can we talk about
the Salah thing's really interesting, because a lot of Liverpool fans are saying, no, it's a false rumor, he isn't out, which is fair. The account I saw share it was the same one who broke the news about Alisson's hamstring, and people told me that wasn't real. So I'm just looking at it. It's very interesting. But sorry, you were about to say something, Kigal.
I think this whole thing about injuries, we need to just look at the team. Liverpool came to Arsenal with a fairly weakened squad and still beat us. So even when things are not going well, Liverpool can still are a great team, and they can find a way and a result.
That's my problem.
I feel like Chelsea have to play the perfect game to beat Liverpool, where Liverpool don't necessarily have to be at their best and they still can get a result versus Chelsea. So on the day, it's going to come down to if Chelsea can structurally be good enough to create enough chances, because Liverpool's defense, Van Dijk is still going to be there, Konate is still going to be there. If I'm not mistaken, Kelleher is no scrub. He might have given away some goals, but the defense is still solid. You're saying your midfield is stronger. You're saying your midfield is stronger, but I think the structure that Liverpool have is a lot more balanced and is a lot better overall, because not only that, they have players that have been there and done that. So this kind of game, they won't shy away from it. How many players in your team can you actually sit there and say have been in this kind of situation where they've been in a cup final? You've changed majority of your squad. This is a whole young team. So I don't know if the lights are going to be too bright for them. And if this Liverpool team can just go there with their sheer experience and show up on the day and turn Chelsea over.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we've got to do it as well. We need that monkey off these guys' backs, man, and Poch.
If Nunes isn't fit for that final, because if Nunes is fit for that final, he loves a big pitch. The way he will stretch your team, he will relish that occasion. However, if Nunes isn't fit for that final, this is where I think Thiago Silva should come into play, because with Gakpo playing, it will probably be Gakpo playing that false nine role. It will probably suit Thiago Silva more. He's not going to run in behind as much as opposed to a Nunes and a Jota will. So this is where I think, I know we'll speak about Thiago Silva earlier not being able to play every game, but if Nunes isn't fit, I think this is the game where Thiago Silva comes in. Not even just
he's injured,
experience as well.
It's going to be it's going to be a very exciting one. And later on in the week, we will be obviously previewing that in a lot more detail.